तू चलता चल तू चलता चल तू चलता चल.
So, boys and girls, Deepanshu has been one of our old students. Like earlier also you had a talk with Jaydeep and Shivansh. So Deepanshu has also been with us for quite some time. And Deepanshu joined us when No Frills Academy was also, evolving. And we did not have this practical guide had not been published. And we used to have local students used to come and meet me every Wednesday and Sunday. It was pre-pandemic days. And sentences वगैरह लिख कर लाते थे ना दीपांशु आप लोग?
Yes sir, yes sir.
हाँ, sentences, essays,
Yes, sir.
GPCD भी हम कर लेते थे.
Yes.
Fine. So those are the things which you know what things now take place in No Frills Academy groups. Those kind of things used to happen at my house on every Wednesdays and Sundays. So you can see actually No Frills Academy as such only the number of students. No Frills Academy was smaller than what our groups are today. So at that time, Deepanshu had reposed faith in the philosophy of No Frills Academy. He joined us and we used to have a good chit chat. We did not even have a very fixed agenda. The agenda was getting decided by the students. Then we used to, move on. So that kind of stage we were in. So that is the time Deepanshu joined us. And when he joined us, that time only I remember telling him that he has the right material to, get recommended. However, it was up to him to build up upon the things which were not measuring up, like some of his knowledge of his core subjects. I still remember he's telling me that the radars and all are very complicated stuff. I told him it's bullshit. Don't worry, nothing is complicated. Fine. So you have to get clarity, and that is important. Fine. So we will keep having a talk. So Deepanshu, first you start off with how you started your journey as far as the SSB is concerned. If you were associated, you were trying for SSB even before you came to No Frills Academy. Talk about your initial days, then initial things of screening in, conference out and all that. And then we will move on. Fine? Yeah.
So thank you, sir. I started my SSB journey in July 2016, I believe, right after I finished my 12th standard. I did my schooling from UP board, so my communication skills, my GK, they were not even at par. So they were very minimal. So naturally, in my first attempt, I got screened out from Vizag for 10+2 BTech cadet entry. After that, I took admission in engineering and started building upon my communication skills a bit. So that helped me to get screened in at least in my next attempt in PES entry Allahabad. Thereafter, in the subsequent attempts, I got screened out from Bangalore for the same entry. And then in 2018, again, I got conference out from Bhopal. Thereafter, I was out of age for intermediate based entries. Come 2020, I came in contact with you. I read your blogs on Quora, on Instagram. I followed you for a couple of months before actually going through with you. So I decided, yes, okay, this person has something, and I found you logical. So I just gave you a call, got assessed by you. And even at that point of time, I was like, I still remember the word you used was dhila. So I was not very physically fit. My general knowledge was not very good. Knowledge of the core subjects, as you just mentioned, was not very good. So yeah, there was a lot to be done. So I started participating in group activities. I was part of NFA 8. I still remember we used to participate 5 a.m. in the morning, even in the winters. So I really, with all the motivation, I started participating in those groups for a good 6 months. I kept on building upon my fitness, my GK, and my other things. So I was on my high horse that, okay, I've come to the right place. I should get recommended within a matter of a few months. But then I got screened out 3 consecutive times, like 2 times for FCAT, 1 for TGC. Sir, no matter how confident you are, if you get screened out 3 times, your confidence comes down a bit. So
आपका
I
group
called you.
coordinator कौन था उस time में?
The first coordinator that I worked with was Tarsh Verma. He was from DU.
Okay.
Yeah. After that, I was made the coordinator. I coordinated the group activities for about 9 to 10 months, I remember.
Okay.
Then the group became dormant and I had to switch to NFA 15. In that group also, I was made the coordinator. I participated and I coordinated for around good 3-4 months. I continued to participate even after that. So I got screened out 3 times and was feeling a bit dejected. But then I called you, and of course, you said that don't worry about screening. It's just sometimes it is unpredictable and people get screened out a lot of times. So don't bother about it. So after that, I cleared CDS twice. I appeared for interview. I got conference out. I got conference out for SSC Navy entry as well from Bangalore in April 2021. After that, I called you. You got, and I asked whether my stories have particular actions or not. So then you told me bluntly that जब तक तू इन सब बारीकियों के पीछे पड़ा रहेगा तेरा नहीं होने वाला, मैं लिख के दे रहा हूँ. So that thing struck me, and then I remembered in my first interaction with you, you told me you guys like tera hona hi hai. I still remember you said the same thing to Ishan. He is training right now, and there were other people who got recommended in the subsequent attempts. So I felt I took that line by heart, and I kept going. Did not lose heart. I appeared for FCAT SSB last year November. I felt my instinct told me I was this close. I was made to wait for 20 minutes in my conference, but unfortunately I couldn't make it. So that was the day when I realized, okay, I am absolutely on the line. I just have to push a bit harder, and I'll be crossing the line in my next attempt. So I got screened out in January again for the Navy from 33 SSB Bhopal, and then I went for Air Force CDS entry in March, Dehradun. I got recommended from there. So that is my journey, sir. Throughout my journey, the biggest motivation was your sentence that you told me, that tera hona hi hai. Like you have nothing to worry about. Just be competent in life. If you're working, work diligently, sir. I worked very hard in my job, sir. Within a matter of 15 months, I've been working since November 2020. No person has been made team lead this quick, but my manager was considering me for team lead even despite my lack of experience. So I was very competent in my work, and I'm being very honest, I never practiced any TATs, although I did practice a VAT or SD, just to get familiar with the timings, that I'm able to complete them or not. Other than that, I never practiced any TAT. The biggest contribution in this recommendation is the group activities, sir, because those group activities, when I coordinated, that gave me sense of responsibility, that other people are depending upon me to come up with the new topics, with new themes, and new topics for lecture 8 and GDs. So I had to do some research for that. So other people were dependent upon me, so I had to keep going, because the question was not just for me. So that helped me become a better, more competent person. So that is how my experience has been, sir.
Yeah, Deepanshu, one thing, very, very important, which you realize, which I think a large number of our students don't realize, and definitely people who are not associated with No Frills Academy, they don't realize, and that is the significance of doing your job well. I keep stressing upon this point to all my students, that if you are not a competent worker, that means you're not fit for selection. Because what you are doing day in and day out, whatever will come out in the SSB has to be a sample of that. Fine. So please do tell us as to how this aspect, being a sincere worker, played a role in your confidence building, in the respect you got in your organization, and also how actually it facilitated your getting, exempt from duties to go and attend SSB, because often people have to tell lies, and that is a fact. In fact, I am rated to be a fairly honest person by general standards of Indian society, but I have myself advised some of my students who are working with organizations like Tech Mahindra and all, कि भाई कुछ फज बज करके निकलो क्योंकि सीधे सीधे नहीं निकलने दे रहे हैं ये लोग आपको. So those things are the realities. So do talk about these things, because I am observing these things from a distance. You have been in it. So, you will be able to share your experience better, and I'm sure it will have a good impact on others. Please tell us things.
Sir, right after I started in November 2020, I made it a point that whatever my team lead requires me to do, I will do it with sincerity. If he asks me to do 7 days a week, I will do that. If he asks me to do 11 or 12 hours shift, I will do that. I just made it very clear right from the beginning that, sir, I am going to appear for SSB. I am a defense aspirant. Whenever I require leave, I expect you to please grant me the leaves. It will be at minimum, the leaves will be 5 days at least. So 1 week is gone. So I appeared right after started. I've attended 5 conferences, 5 or 6 conferences, and every time I've taken leave of 6 to 7 days, the whole week. He never questions me. Whenever I ask for leave, sir, I have to go for SSB, just grant me leave. He grants me leave. When I come back, I cover for my other colleagues. Like, I remember in Corona, 25 to 30% people in my team got contracted from COVID. So we had to cover for them. We had to work extra hours, extra days, in fact. So that is how I covered for my leaves, and I kept getting appreciation from the client. So he knew that I'm working hard. Whenever I work hard, and that was being reflected in my appreciations, in my feedback as well. I got 5-star rating, and I have another appraisal pending. I will get A band in that as well. So that is a result of a trust that has been built between me and my team lead. He knows that whenever I work hard, not just work hard, I build my team as well. See, there are junior people, they need guidance from me. I am a very junior person, still I'm training the people who are coming in, despite the senior people being in the team long before me, but I am training them. Why? Because he trusts me. I have clear knowledge of the process, and that's how our relationship evolved. He never refused me any leave, sir. And the first thing you asked me, how it helped me build confidence. Sir, I was doing job, like I was confident because I had a very strong backup. He told me that people like you are needed in this project. If you're not able to make it into defense, there is always a very good place for you here. So that helped me get rid of all these insecurities that if I don't make it into defense, then how would I cope up in this corporate world? But he allayed those fears for me, and that's how it built my confidence. And that was reflected in my SSB as well. When he was asking, the interviewer was asking about my team lead and other colleagues, I was able to answer very confidently, and I think that was reflected in my body language. So that is how my work relationship has been with my colleagues and my team leads.
Good. Deepanshu, also we would like to know that how your working sincerely enhanced your overall competence in life as a person.
Sir, whenever there is a complex issue, I am the point person for my team lead. So earlier on, my problem solving skills were not that good. But because he posed his faith in me, I had to do research. I had to come up with solutions. In that sense, I became even more responsible in my family. I took care of my mother's health insurance when she got surgery. So that is how I became more responsible in life as well. So this is how it has helped me, sir.
Very fine. So you see, it is for the people who are listening to us, a person is a whole. He is not that, A human being is not in bits and parts. When Deepanshu was a sincere worker, he was working with commitment, with a sense of responsibility. Then he became a competent and a responsible person. And these, facets of his personality reflected in his life at home. And similarly, these things would have definitely got reflected in the SSB also, because he's the same person. I'm reminded of, the Deepanshu Upasak, वो भी हमारे मेरठ वाला ही है. You remember Upasak? Tall chap, अपना CDS के through गए थे, basketball player, दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी वाला है, हिंदू कॉलेज. Oh, you may not be remembering him. कोई बात नहीं. You know what happened? I told him to focus a lot on he had a large agricultural land. I told him to get involved in his, milk production, in the crop they are growing. They had mango orchard. They were planning to go in for planting lemon trees and other things. I told him to get involved in all those things. And he was saying that, his mother tells him that, you with apna tum CDS ka karo yaar, you leave it to us. I told him, you'd forget about mother, you do that, because this is going to help. And actually he enhanced the productivity of his agricultural land, the milk production and all those things increased. So when you are involved in this manner, your competence also rises. You become a more responsible person. And he was able to, his sister was elder to him, and to some extent he became an advisor to his sister also. Because he was getting responsibility at home. So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
naturally these things happen. So, all these things add up, which we often don't realize, Deepanshu.
Yes,
But
sir.
inadvertently, these things make us a more mature and responsible person. And that is why I keep telling all our students कि जब काम करना है sincerely करो, टरकाऊ काम मत करो, चलता है एटीट्यूड से जिंदगी मत जियो, क्योंकि वही फिर निकल के वहां आएगा. पर्सनालिटी आपकी वही है. हम जो हैं आज की डेट में, आप ये देखिए, आप किसी सरकारी विभाग में जाते हैं तो आप क्यों उनसे काम कराने का भरोसा नहीं लगता आपको? क्योंकि वो गप मार रहा होगा, वो आपको दिखाएगा कि मेरी अब लंच ब्रेक हो गई है और लंच ब्रेक जो है 2.5 घंटे की होगी. दैट काइंड ऑफ थिंग. तो ही इज नॉट सिंसियर अबाउट डूइंग हिज जॉब. तो आप सोचते हो कि वो आदमी अपनी पर्सनल लाइफ में कॉम्पिटेंट होगा? नो, ही विल बी इनकॉम्पिटेंट देयर आल्सो, बिकॉज़ ही
He'll be
हैज
unhappy
बिकम
in
लाइक
life.
दैट. उसका
Yes.
जिंदगी में आचरण ही यही हो गया है, इसी एटीट्यूड से जिंदगी जीता है वो. अब वो एसएसबी में जाएगा तो क्या होगा उसका? एसएसबी he'll get kicked out. Because
Yes, sir.
वो देख रहा है कि किस तरह से काम ना किया जाए, rather than getting work done.
Yes, sir.
So these are important things. Well, I don't have very many questions from you, Deepanshu. You please share, what you would like the new aspirants who are joining No Frills Academy. You are a veteran of No Frills Academy and experienced person for the aspirants also. What, clear-cut pieces of advice you would like to give them to get success in SSB and in life?
Sir, I mean, I would be repeating what you have already mentioned in your book, sir. So, but I will reiterate
Because
that.
you see what happens, देखो यार, जैसे क्या होता है, ये book है. This book, a large amount of contents of this book, I have interpreted what Stephen Covey's guidelines are in his book of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. But in its own way, if you read that book, you will feel that there are some differences because some evolution has taken place.
Yes,
Some
sir.
ideas I have taken, some ideas I have added. So similarly, what happens? This is how growth takes place. So ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. अब आप बताइए, क्योंकि आपने किस नजरिए से देखा है जिंदगी को, उस हिसाब से आप बताइए. Because you are for whatever we are, individual competencies. They are your peers. You are nearer to them in age. And
Yes,
you are
sir.
going through this experience right now, which I underwent in 1978. बहुत
Yes, sir.
vintage बहुत पुरानी हो गई हुई है. So difference is there.
Yes.
आप बताइए.
Okay, sir. So my advice to all of you guys is just be, keep participating in the group activities. These groups have been made for you only. When you say your GK is weak, how are you going to improve your GK? By participating in lecturate, GD, reading newspaper. So these things are you cannot compromise in these things. That is how you're going to gain confidence. That confidence, you might underestimate it, but that confidence actually gets reflected in your body language. On top of that, if you build your physical strength and physical fitness, I never compromised on my running. I still remember when I ran 6 kilometers for the first time. I emailed Nehru sir. He was very happy that, okay, this is a personal achievement for you, and keep going. There was a day when I ran 8 kilometers. So I never compromised on my fitness, although my strength level was not up to the mark in last year, but I never compromised on my fitness. So these two things are absolutely must, GK and fitness level. Other than that, sir, what Nehru sir has already mentioned, if you're a worker, and just do your work very seriously, very sincerely, because if you do that, you will automatically gain confidence in doing a job. In SSB also, you are given tasks, right? So your approach would be to complete those tasks rather than impressing someone. If, for example, in workplace, you are actually doing tasks, you are logging out at 9:30, which is a stipulated time, but there are people who do not do work and still log out at 10:30, 11, just to show his team leader or manager that, okay, he's working so hard. That approach does not build your confidence. Do your work sincerely, quickly, and that is how you will be confident, and that is how you will get time for other activities, right? So I finished my work on time, and that is why I was able to make time for other activities. Do not forget to spend time with your friends. This is very important. I mean, if you want to go for a movie, go for a movie. If you're into travel, please do that. Do not avoid your friends or family. Take responsibility in your family. That responsibility is going to get reflected, and the defense forces need responsible people who can get the job done. So how are you going to become that person doing your job effectively? What is your job? If you're in IT, do what you're told. Or if you're in students, study your subject sincerely, keep participating in activities. That is all the advice that I want to give to all of you. But one thing I would like to reiterate: do not forget to participate in these activities. Whenever you get time, do participate. Be part of multiple groups if you are not able to maintain timings for a longer period. For example, if for 1 month you are able to make time in the morning, another month you are able to make time in the evening. So be part of multiple groups if you want to, but participate, please. So this is my advice
Good.
for all of the
Thanks
aspirants.
a lot. दीपांशु, एक और बात बताओ यार, ये भी बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है, क्योंकि बहुत लोग हैं जो कि आपके वाले बैकग्राउंड से आते हैं, यूपी बोर्ड से या किसी और स्टेट बोर्ड से, और इंग्लिश जो है दिक्कत वाला इशू होता है, और नॉट ओनली इंग्लिश दिक्कत होती है, उससे कॉन्फिडेंस भी जो है वो ना अफेक्टेड, हैम्पर्ड रहता है. तो स्क्रीनिंग में ही जाते ही आप थोड़ा सा जो है ना, आप इनहिबिटेड फील करते हो. तो आपके साथ भी ये फीलिंग्स रही होंगी जब आप शुरू
Yes,
में
sir.
थे. तो एक थोड़ा इसके
Several.
बारे में भी दीपांशु बताइए, ये कैसे इनिशियली रहा, कैसे आपने एफर्ट्स किए, एंड नाउ यू आर एबल टू कन्वर्स क्वाइट कंफर्टेबली इन गुड इंग्लिश. So how have you attained this level?
Sir, I still remember in my first attempt in SSB, I was not able to narrate. I just spoke one sentence and I then went blank. It was very embarrassing for me. I mean, I took coaching and I spent 20,000. I was not able to speak more than one sentence
अरे
in
कहाँ
front of
कोचिंग
10
लेके, ये तो
people.
मैं भूल ही गया था. कहाँ कोचिंग लेके आए थे आप?
Yes, sir. There is in
अरे सब
Ganganagar.
क्रिकेट वाले हमारे.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay.
So,
He's
I mean,
much senior to me, na? I have never met him.
oh, okay.
He's much my senior, na? काफी
Yes,
age.
sir. He's quite senior. He's 65 plus now.
Okay. हाँ.
Yes. So I was saying ki I came right off my school, did not work anything, on my English, and I went into the coaching straight away. I thought that this would do some magic, but then I went into SSB. I faced the reality. That reality hit me. So I just realized that there is no shortcut for English. I have to work. So now then I took admission in engineering. My first version of engineering went like that. I did not start working on my English. But then I still remember that incident. That was the life-changing incident for me. It was very simple. My mechanics professor asked something, a very simple definition. In class, there was a class of 60-70 students. I was not able to utter anything. I went completely blank. I knew the definition in my mind, but I was not able to convey. That was very embarrassing for me. And I just made it a point that I would not let it happen again. That was the day when I started reading books. I made such good friends that they would correct me on every sentence I would utter wrongly. They would point me out, this is how you should speak it. I started reading newspaper at least 1.3 hours, 1.5 hours, 2 hours a day. My commutation from my home to college took around 1 hour. So 1 hour going, 1 hour coming back. I got 2 hours for newspaper reading. I started, thoda sa besharam banna pada mere ko, because when you speak wrong English, you get underconfident, you get embarrassed. But I did not do that. Even though my friends made fun of me, yaar kya bol raha hai? Tere ko to bolna bhi nahi aata ek sentence. I did not bother about that. Come second semester, I started participating in debate, extempore. The first debate I participated, I won first competition. There were 150 people, all of them from ICSC, CBSC, excellent orators. Somebody anchor, somebody other used to participate in other activities, some coordinator. I was the first one. I got the first prize. That was when I realized that I have huge potential. And then I started building upon that only. And for entertainment, I watched, even my entertainment was in English. After that, I watched Hollywood movies or TV series. So that gave me a sense of normal conversational English, like other than bookish English. So combination of these three, my friends helping me, correcting me along the way, reading books, reading it aloud. This is very important. I would like to mention, whatever you read, if you're reading your novel, if you're reading your newspaper, please read it aloud. If you don't read it aloud, you won't be able to convey confidently, no matter how good your English is, right? So read it aloud, whatever you're reading, and practice those sentences in your day-to-day conversations. That's how you can improve. That is my advice. That is how you can.
Okay, so good. So what kind of time frame can you say it took you to become, reasonably confident in your written and oral expression, since you're starting from, finishing your school?
Sir, if I say the time frame would be around 5 to 6 months, that was good enough for me.
5 to 6 months in your after school college, you had become reasonably confident, both with written and oral communication.
Absolutely.
Okay, fine. So this is something which
but I would like to mention, this time frame may be different for different people.
Obviously.
Depending upon the efforts they put in and the level at which they are right now. So yes, that may change for different people.
Fine, that is very nice. Deepanshu, this is about all I wanted to talk to you about. Now you are open to questions, not from students first, but from Yogita madam, who will definitely ask you at least two very penetrating questions, which would be helpful to all our students. So Yogita, please, your turn. Then we will open the house for other students.
Deepanshu, it had been a long journey. Just tell me about your motivation, discipline, the qualities that are required to maintain since 2016.
Sir, ma'am, my attempts after my 12th standard, they were not very serious attempts. I just went there to experience how SSB is. But when I looked at life up close, I realized this is the life I want. This is the, that aura of uniform, that respect. That was what fueled my motivation. And as I mentioned earlier, that sentence from sir, gave me a boost for my motivation when he said that tera to hona hi hai. That sentence just keep picking my brain. So that was my motivation, ma'am. There were times in between that I doubted myself. I'm sure 70 to 80% people go through this. There are very few people who don't doubt themselves if they don't get success. I'm sure there are a lot of repeaters in NFA, even who have more attempts than me or less. But I'm sure I share their feeling. And my advice to them is, if I can make it, believe me, you can make it. So that is how I kept myself going.
Okay. Talking about your recommendation SSB, please start off with day one, what all happened, day two, the GTO part, the interview, the crux of all the 5 days, that the experience that you had.
Okay, so 123 people reported. It was a combination of CDS and NCC special entry in 1FSB Dehradun. The picture shown to us in PPDT was very simple. 6 to 7 college friends or school friends. They were shown studying and they were laughing. So I made a very simple story related to group story of the engineering group study of the engineering students, and I put a bit of humor in between. I got screened in, thankfully. Come my psychological tests, I was not worried about. This was the first time that I was not worried about TAT particularly, because other things I was very comfortable, but in TAT I found it very challenging. But this time I did not bother about anything. I wrote very simple 6 to 7 sentences stories. I was able to complete them within 3 minutes, and I did not worry about what my theme is. I just read what came to my mind then and there. My SD, I did not get it approved by sir, but I knew I had introspected. I knew what I am supposed to what I am to write. I had prepared it beforehand. It was on similar lines to what is given in the practical guide, the book. So I did not need to get it approved by sir. I knew he would approve it. I was able to write it in 15 minutes. I did not write it before because it was a quite comprehensive self-description. And I did 60 WATs. I did not leave any word. I did only 39 SRTs. I know what sir would be thinking in his mind. But see, I've been working for 15 months in TCS. We all work on laptops. There are very few times that we use pen. So my writing speed was not up to the mark. So I was able to complete only 39 SRTs in continuation. So that is how my psychology went. I mean, in AFSBs, they conduct psychological tests. I'm sure you know by now that they conduct psych tests in the evening itself. I used to do night shift, so I hadn't gotten any sleep for 2 days before going to the SSB. So my SSB was on 21. I hadn't slept since 19. I was sleepy when I appeared for a psych test. So I absolutely don't know how I completed all these tests, but I just did it. And then I got a good sleep of 8 to 9 hours. And the next day was my interview. In interview, this was a very unique and very different interview than what I had experienced in my previous attempts. In previous attempts, there would be standard CIQs thrown onto you. You'd have to answer them. In between, there would be probing questions. But in this attempt, it was a very simple one-to-one conversation. Simple question, simple answer. He was just interested in knowing the decisions that I had made right after my 10th standard. Taking science stream. What prompted you to take science stream? Then what prompted you to give all these competitive exams after 12th and graduation? Why did you not write JEE exam? I did not write JEE exam. Why couldn't you clear NDA? Why did you choose ECE? Right? Why did you not appear for any other placements other than TCS? Why do you have only these friends? Are you not comfortable with other friends? So what other qualities you like? Very simple question answer session. There was no CIQ asked. I asked them at first. I was a bit nervous, I must admit, but then he just reassured me that Deepanshu, I'm not judging you. I just want to know the rationale behind you making those decisions. Then I got confident and I answered everything honestly and in crisp. In earlier attempts, I would just beat around the bush, one line. If there should be a one line answer, I would give 4-line answer unnecessarily. Even though I don't do that in real life, but I don't know what prompted me to do that in my previous attempt, but I did not repeat that this time. So that is how my interview went. Come GTO tasks, I'm always comfortable with GTO tasks. In GD, my knowledge came in handy. In GP, I am always able to convince the group for the group solution. They were about to nominate me, but the other chap, he nominated himself and made some controversy over there. I would not like to get in the details, but overall the GTO was very good. In PGT, our group was very experienced. All the people were having at least 6 or 7 SSBs in the bag. So he did not even explain all the rules. He just said, you already know what is to be done. Just start. So we did. He gave us 40 to 45 minutes. We did it in 22 to 25 minutes only, and so many ideas were there. Like every person was having one idea for an obstacle. But I was at the front, and whenever I got the idea, I just implemented it without wasting any time. If I don't have any idea and somebody is giving idea from the back, I implemented that idea without wasting any time. So that is how we were able to complete the tasks within time. After that, at GT, the same thing happened in HGT. If somebody is giving idea, I let them implement it, and I also helped my teammates cross the obstacles and tie the knots. After that, in individual obstacle, I did 8 obstacles, and in my command task, I was called. The group was of 7 people. I was called 5 times. The 6th person was about to call me. Then GTO said, no, you cannot call him now. Call somebody else. So my command task was good. It has always been good. He increased difficulty a couple of times, but I was able to complete it. And that is how my in lecturate, I got topic of tax haven. I spoke on it very confidently. I covered the aspects of black money and corruption, and the countries that invest in tax havens. I gave examples of tax haven countries such as Switzerland and Bahamas, Panama. So I was able to weave my lecturate around all these points. I gave it confidently. That's how my GTO went. I was made to wait for 10 to 15 minutes before my conference. I was not getting my hopes up because the same thing had happened earlier in November. So my conference went in for 30 seconds inside, and the wait was around 10 to 15 minutes. And then the results came. Out of 55 people, 4 people got recommended, and out of 4, only 2 cleared CPSS, including myself. And that was my experience.
Thank you so much. There are many important points that you made. For you, it was, let's say, you described it as simple, but for many, being honest itself is difficult. For example, if someone has taken a gap, or someone has decided to offer something which did not turn out to be in his or her favor, that the people are asking us doubts, not just our admitted students, but also on social media. Can I say this? Can I say this? When sir repeatedly says, be honest with your answers, tell your reasons. And your interview revolved around those reasoning, why you took such decisions or rational decisions in your life. So how to get that confidence not to beat around the bush and to be straight. I took this decision because of this. Will you please tell us?
Ma'am, this mentality was there in me.
Transition happened in your case.
Yes. This mentality was also in me in my previous attempts, that I have to somehow cover my weaknesses, right? I have to somehow justify them. But this time he asked me, you didn't write JE. I told him straight that I could not understand a word of English. There was no point in writing JE. I told him point blank. He did not ask me any question after that. All in all, ma'am, I have taken rational decisions in life, so it was not very difficult for me. But I would say, if you have any gap here, just accept responsibility. If you did anything productive in that gap year, you prepared for any exam, you cleared it, it is a good thing. So even if you are not able to clear exams, just state as much. Accept your responsibility. Only then you can become more responsible in life. If you just run from it, nothing good would come out of it. So that is my advice, and that is what sir says, and that is what I followed, honestly.
And people are a bit diffident when it comes to GTO task. How and in your case, it came so naturally that you were called 6 times or 7 times on command task. Please tell us, and the others who are NFA students, how to get on with those and how to bring those ideas.
Ma'am, as sir says, it does not matter if you're being called 1 or 7 times or 5 times. I've seen people getting recommended who were not called even once. I've seen people getting conference out who were called every time by every subordinate. So it does not matter. Don't worry about it. But I would say that if group thinks that you are competent, if you're given good ideas in GP, if you were able to convince them, in GD you have shown good knowledge, in and in GT as well, you have given good ideas, you were helping them, right? So they're going to call you, definitely. But if you don't help them, if you don't interact with them, you're going to just confide in yourself, then it's going to create a negative image of you, that you're not a group, you're not a team man. So for GD, for GPE, for lecturate, and for PPDT, the groups are already there. I participated in the activities itself, and that is how I learned to convey my points in GP, especially because in my 3 to 4 previous attempts, I have noticed that I am very easily able to convince the group because I state logical points. How do you learn to put forward those logical points? By participating in the group activities. Otherwise, you would just sometimes you would just go blank there. How to write the solution? So participate in the activity, participate in the GD itself. So start from the GD, the first 2 GDs. That is where your newspaper reading, your participation in the GDs would come in handy. In GP, again, if you have participated in Delhi, there are around 13 to 14 samples of GPs available that in NFAs we solve on daily basis every week. Participate in that. In lecturate, there are extempore and there are impromptu lecturate as well. In my group, we had allotted one day that we would follow strictly the rules of SSB. We would give topics on the spot, and that fear, like if topic is given to you and you fear that you don't have any points, how do you get the points? Read daily, and that is how you become confident. So keep participating in those activities. If your group does not do impromptu lecturate, please convince them to conduct impromptu lecturates rather than
point for all the NFA students. Impromptu lecturate or on the spot lecturates, you can prepare the topic, and group admins can share the topic not beforehand, just on the spot. Plus,
yes.
please throw some light on those who are nervous about PGT, HGT, those tasks.
You just 1 second. Sorry, Deepanshu, for butting in. I would like to add one point to what Deepanshu was saying. To see how you are having a positive influence on the group. So Deepanshu spoke about the formal group activities which are being assessed. There is, I would say, almost what is being assessed and being seen by the GTO, maybe about 20%, 80% of the group activities are taking place when assessment is not there. You are still interacting with the group. You are the same person.
Yes,
so
sir.
The kind of influence you have, the kind of behavior you have with them, that is going to have an impact on the formal assessment time also. Once again,
Yes,
it boils down to that what you are is actually far more important than the words you use and the mannerisms and all you do when the assessment is on. So
absolutely.
that is also going to have a lot of impact. So Deepanshu, you can talk about it right now before you go on to answering the other question.
Sir, what you have mentioned is absolutely right. Before even GTO begins, you have already interacted with your group for 48 hours, right? They know your level of knowledge, level of confidence. So that is how it is, and that is how they are influenced. we have a lot of discussions in SSB. I'm sure everybody would be knowing that we have discussions on various current events as well. They ask you, yaar please mere ko news bata de. Some of them are working individuals and they don't have time to prepare news. So if you tell them news, he's going to think that okay, you read newspaper as well along with study. So you are going to gain respect in his eyes. So that is how the group is influenced. When the actual GD happens, they expect you to put points, and if you're able to put points, they are influenced automatically. In GD, if you put logical points, so they are going to get influenced because they have seen you putting logical points in the informal discussions in your barracks, right? So that is how they respect you. That is how they are being influenced by you. And I'm not saying that you have to do it deliberately. You are being your natural self. You are putting forward your points, but they are being influenced on their own. So I did not do anything special to influence them outside the testing or inside the testing. I was just myself. I just had good knowledge, so they respected that. I gave good ideas in PGT. They respected that. So that is how the influence is, that is how they get influenced.
And this is for others to doubt. Online guidance means how everything can be done online. So this is for others as well. How do we create an influence in online practice sessions?
Absolutely. And ma'am, one thing, I mean, sir has also mentioned on numerous occasions that if you worry about PGT or command task or HGT, then just watch a few videos on YouTube. There are plethora of videos available from different coaching academies. Just watch them, pause the video at that point of time, think, pick your brain. What would be the solution? You don't have to go to formal coaching to practice GTO tasks. That's it. You just have to get ideas. If you get ideas in the videos, you will get ideas in real life. They have the similar obstacles. So it's not like it's available for free. You can practice that.
Okay. And also for those who are a bit unconfident about imagination power, people ask this question in social media doubts clearing session. If we do not practice that, then how do we increase our power of imagination? And you said that you did not practice that.
Man, this is a very heavy word, power of imagination. Like I am only, fortunately,
Neither sir will be able to tell this. He faces such questions every Sunday.
Okay, so the thing is, fortunately, this time the pictures were such that I was able to relate them. Like there was a lady in a picture around snowy mountains. So I made a simple story of paragliding. I have done paragliding, so I was able to relate almost to all the pictures. Even if you don't relate to pictures, you have heard stories from your friends. If somebody is from NCC, they tell you stories. But if you're observant enough, you would know how to write a story. Like if there is a meeting going on and you're a student, but you would have seniors who are working in the IT sector, like they would, if you interact with them, or if you even watch movies, so you would get an idea. There is no such thing as you wouldn't get idea. And why do you have to be imaginative? Just write simple stories. Are you writing scripts of movies? So just write simple stories.
I am done, sir. That was all. Now we'll give others.
It remains for me to thank Deepanshu for taking up your time and guiding all the No Frills Academy students and all people who follow our YouTube channel. I'm sure they will find the knowledge which you have shared beneficial, and it would guide them to prepare better. And तुम्हारी जर्नी तो चली रही है, मेरी भी जर्नी चली रही है जिंदगी की.
Yes, sir. वो नहीं रुकेगी.
Every day, and we keep trying to improve the next day better than what we were today. And
yes, sir.
That goes on. And once we keep doing this, we follow this principle of Kaizen. We find that when the difficult situations come, we don't find them really very difficult. You know.
Yes, right, sir.
We can tackle them, and लगता है यार ये क्या सी big deal थी इसमें. That's how it should be.
Yes.
ठीक है बेटा Deepanshu, thank you so much. God bless. Take care. You've done us
Take
proud. Bye bye.
Okay, sir.
Bye bye all of you. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot,
Thank you.
Yogita. Take care. Bye bye.